Hello, I'm Grant Boxleitner. This week on Suncoast FYI, how to maximize your Social Security benefits, a climate change symposium on the Suncoast, a children's book author, and the Shake, Rattle, and Soul Festival at Roberts Arena. All coming up next on Suncoast FYI. Thanks for joining us today on Suncoast FYI. We pay a little bit of each of our paychecks towards our Social Security, but when it comes time to collect that money, there are certain actions you can take to maximize your benefits. And here to help us explain that is Financial Services Planner Sandy Morris. Sandy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So when we're talking about this, what are the first things that we need to keep in mind when we're talking about maximizing benefits?
Well, when you're ready to take your Social Security, you have to remember there's 2,728 different rules in the Social Security Handbook.
Wow.
And there's over 500 different types and ways of getting your money out of Social Security. And every year, over $10 billion goes unclaimed because people do not understand the full benefits that are available to them because they're not reflected on their Social Security statement. So they just look at their Social Security statement, say, if I take my Social Security here or here, this is what I get. But there's more to it than that. Is
it a timing issue? Is it when you take it, or is it how much you take?
It's your timing does depend on how much you get, but it's so complicated. Mm-hmm. It has to be complicated, or if it wasn't, $10 billion a year wouldn't be going left unclaimed.
And I've seen my Social Security statements. They send them from time to time. The benefits are in black and white, but there could be even more benefits. Talk about that.
If you really want to get all your benefits and wring every nickel out of your Social Security, then what you need is a personalized Social Security income analysis. And what it does is it takes all of your earnings history and it breaks it down and tells you about 5 different ways that you can get it out. And if you're married, there's several different ways that you can get it out. And for most people, instead of settling for just $25,000 or $30,000 worth of joint income into Social Security, I'm finding that most people are in the $60,000 range. So for couples, they're leaving well over, many of them are leaving well over $100,000 in unclaimed Social Security benefits over their lifetime.
That's really eye-opening.
It's a lot of money.
So the best way to maximize these benefits then is exactly what you've been talking about.
You call and ask for your customized report, and we can run a report usually within 5 minutes. And you'll have this 12-page report, and it gives you all the details, and you can see exactly all of your benefits that are on that statement.
Wow. Well, right now we want to do a call to action. The first 20 qualified viewers that call the number that's going to be listed on your screen will receive a personalized Social Security analysis. Talk to us about how this is going to work.
We're going to show you how you can wring every nickel that you've paid into Social Security back out.
Okay.
And we're also going to show you, if you're already taking your benefits, you may have more benefits available there to you that you're not even aware of. And sometimes we can go back and even get back pay.
Wow. So how does this analysis, what does it all include, and how can it help people?
Well, you know, let's face it, retirees are struggling because of low interest rates to get income. And most people, I find, are leaving several tens of thousands of dollars on the table. So when you get this report, it's going to show you exactly, if you take your Social Security, what month to file in, what forms. There are special forms that are needed to file.
Detailed.
Yes, yes. And if you just take this report to the Social Security Administration's office, they'll file those forms for you. They know about it. It's just they don't really go into detail with you about it.
Now, about once a year, I get something in the mail where it has my history of earnings and things and tells me if I'm on track or not. Does that still happen? I haven't gotten one in a while.
They stopped it for a while. They're going to start back this year sending that, but that only shows you just a glance of what's on there. So you can't take it for face value. But if you bring that report, you need your Social Security statement, you can call the office, we get that report, and we run it for you, and it just gives you like a 12-page analysis, and it shows you verbatim exactly what you need to do. It's very simple, and it takes like 5 minutes to run it.
Yeah, because you don't want to be leaving all of this money on the table if you don't have to, that's for sure.
Now, can you imagine getting an extra $1,000, $1,500 a month simply because you found out that you could file one form?
Yeah, that would be really nice. Yeah. So where can people go to get more information about your services?
You can go to sandymorrisfinancial.com or call the number at the bottom of the screen, and my assistant Linda can run a report for you in literally less time it takes to eat a bowl of cereal.
Wow, that's great. Well, Sandy, thank you so much for joining us today here on Suncoast FYI. And coming up on the show, a climate change symposium is coming to the Suncoast, and details are next, so stay with us. Welcome back to Suncoast FYI. I'm Grant Boxleitner. A climate change symposium will be taking place next week, and here to tell us more about this big event is Reverend Roger Fritz. Welcome to the show, Reverend. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Grant. Good to be here.
What church are you a part of?
The Unitarian Universalist Church of Sarasota on Fruitville Road, right by Bobby Jones Golf Course. It's easy to find.
Yeah, a fascinating topic. So how is climate change and religion kind of linked in this?
Well, about 3,000 years ago, religion got involved in climate change. Joseph was a slave in Egypt, and the Pharaoh had a dream. He asked Joseph to come interpret it, and Joseph said, you're going to have 7 years of plenty, 7 years of drought. You need to prepare. You need to save up all your grain and your food so that you'll be able to survive during those 7 years of drought. Well, since then, over 3,000 years, clergy and religious leaders have tried to look for prophets to give us some sense of what's going to happen in the future so that we can plan and we prepare. Well, we've got 3 prophets who are coming to our church to talk about the future.
Yeah, 3 big speakers, this big symposium on Wednesday, February 11th from 4:30 to 8:30. Who are they?
Well, David Hastings is a expert in marine science at Eckhart College. Eric Draper is executive director of Audubon, Florida. Linda Marsa is a journalist. She has written a book on climate change and health. And she argues that if we don't do something about climate change, that the number of serious illnesses is going to increase. And we can actually justify doing something about it, save money by the amount that we'll save in health care if we do better.
And so what do some of the climate scientists say will happen here in Florida?
Well, we're looking at a guess that in 2050 we'll have a 2-foot rise. And so check your GPSs. If your house is less than 2 feet above sea level, you might want to consider selling now. The values are going to drop. If we go wait 100 years and continue the same trend, we're looking at possible 6-foot rise in the Gulf waters. So if you live somewhere that's only 6 feet above the sea level, you need to look in terms of long-term, not staying there. Now, my church happens to be 21 feet above sea level, so we're
sounds
okay.
like you're okay.
Yeah, but so I'm not predicting the end of the world here.
Right.
But 6-foot rise is going to affect a lot of people.
That is very eye-opening. And so there are some groups in Sarasota that aren't leaving a big carbon footprint. Care to share some of those in your opinion?
Well, ideally we should all live like the Amish and the Mennonite. To go over to that area where there are wonderful restaurants and great furniture. These people are riding their tricycles around. They are not using nearly as much electricity as the rest of us are. I don't think they have television, so they're probably not watching this. Barring that, we need to look at using fluorescent lights instead of incandescent. That saves electricity. We need to look at generating electricity using solar panels. There are a variety of things we can do to make a difference.
And this debate has been raging on for years, and on both sides it seems to be, it goes back and forth, but do you ever get embroiled with people who just aren't convinced of this?
Well, there are people, I think there's a fellow on the radio who calls us environmentalist wackos, and my response to that is, okay, I could be wrong. I'm trusting the prophets, trusting the scientists, the experts, but maybe they're wrong. What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, if I switch to incandescent lights, to fluorescent lights from incandescent, I save on my electric bill. If I take the bus to work or walk to work, actually if I walk to work I might lose weight and I'll be healthier and I'll save some money on buying gas. And if I'm wrong, I'll tell you what, I'll give a big party with the money I save for everybody and admit I was wrong. But I will have saved money, I will have lost weight, and what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
But I think I'm probably right. I hope I'm wrong, and these scientists are wrong. But I think that this is going to happen.
So do you think, though, that governments around the world are going to have to take another level and another closer look at this to really get this under control?
I'm hoping there's going to be a tipping point where 50 years ago we had no curb cuts on our streets for people in wheelchairs. Now they're everywhere. somewhere somebody decided, hey, this is a bad idea. We need to make it easier for people in wheelchairs to get across the street. Well, I'm hoping the same thing's going to happen with climate change. Last October, there were 19 states that allowed gay marriages. Today, there's 36. We reached a tipping point. The world changed. And I hope that's going to happen with climate change also. People are suddenly going to say, okay, enough. We've heard the scientists. We need to make some changes.
All right. So the symposium coming up on the 11th, tickets, what do people need to know?
We're almost sold out, but you can call the Unitarian Universalist Church of Sarasota to see if there are any tickets left.
All right, and we'll put that number up on the screen.
It's Wednesday, February 11th, starts at 4:30. The number's on the screen. Again, we're almost full. We hope this will motivate the people who come to hear it to really work on this issue.
All right, Reverend, thank you so much for joining us here on Suncoast FYI. Well, coming up next, we'll talk to an artist from Made by Gallery, so stay with us. Welcome back to Suncoast FYI. I'm Grant Boxleitner. Daniel Miyares is an author and illustrator of stories for children, and he's joining me now to tell us more about his latest project. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Hi, Grant. Thanks for having me.
So before we get into your new project, how did you get started with children's books?
Well, I had a friend who saw my artwork. I actually work for Hallmark Cards and as an artist, and a friend of mine said, you know, can I share your work with an artist rep? And I said, well, okay. You know, I never aspired to be an author or illustrator of books. He took my work, shared it with the rep, and then I partnered with them over the course of a year to develop a portfolio. And then once I kind of discovered what my voice was going to be, I went out there and started pitching my portfolio. And my first assignment was a book with Neil Sedaka called Waking Up is Hard.
Wow.
Yeah. Singer-songwriter Neil Sedaka. He redid some of his classic songs for a series of children's books. And his first one was Waking Up is Hard to Do. And I got to work with him on it.
That's outstanding. And speaking of books, you have your latest here right now, Pardon Me. So a lot of illustration in here, of course, by you. Tell us a little bit about the book. Well,
Pardon Me, on the cover, so to speak, it looks like a book about manners. But really, I tell people, you know, this little bird is me. He finds a perch, a nice quiet spot to land, and he gets interrupted over and over again by unwanted visitors until finally...
And we have some of the artwork that's in the book here. It looks like an alligator right here.
Yeah, so in this book, the bird's perch becomes the biggest antagonist of all in the book. And so it turns out that his nice safe spot wasn't so safe in the end.
Oh, no. So we'll keep that in suspense. But what are you working on now?
Currently, I have a book coming out in June. We're just ready to launch it with Simon & Schuster. It's called Float, and it's a wordless picture book. It's about a little boy in his paper boat on a rainy day. And currently I'm working on a new book called Bring Me a Rock with Simon & Schuster as well.
Wow, so you're staying busy with the book writing now.
Absolutely.
There is something going on right now. Tell us about this art show.
Well, it's the Made by Gallery on Ringling College of Art and Design's campus, and it's a show of my kids' literature artwork. Various projects and things that I've done over the years. Features art from Pardon Me, as well as Float, some of my new work. But don't tell my publisher, I'm not really supposed to show the work yet.
So just a tease.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's inside look. So you have to come out to the show to get a taste, as well as some magazine stuff.
Tell me how long it takes to put a book like this together. Is it the drawing more? Is it the storyline?
You know what? The concepting and the story building can happen pretty fast. You know, that's the abstract thinking part. So it comes down to, you know, how fast does that come together? It could take months. It could be just 2 days. You know, the thing that takes the longest is usually making the art, building the book itself, the final art. So I mean, you can tell. How many
characters? Yeah, when we're looking at this, it looked like 3 or 4 characters as I was thumbing through the book.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a zoo full of animals. You know, there's 4 or 5, you know, animals in a grouping here, and you know, and I build my imagery with a lot of layers. I build it up, I paint it, I layer it on top, use mixed media, and you can see, you know, down here there's all the different moods the bird goes through. So I take a lot of time to plan that out, and that's you can kind of see he goes from, you know, peaceful calm to more and more frustrated throughout the book. So really, you know, that kind of stuff, those nuanced kind of expressions, that's what takes the longest, is trying to get that right and authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's almost maybe a year from beginning concept to finished product?
I would say more like, well, to seeing it on the shelf?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, there's printing time and color proofing and all the technical
And
stuff.
speaking of the shelf, where can people pick up this book?
Pardon Me can be found in bookstores anywhere. Check out your local bookstores if you want. You go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Simon & Schuster's website. You can buy it through there, anywhere books are sold.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel, and best of luck with this book and many more.
Thank you.
All right. Well, coming up on Suncoast FYI, we'll have details about the Shake, Rattle, and Soul Festival this weekend, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Suncoast FYI. I'm Grant Boxleitner. Well, do you enjoy the music of legends such as Elvis and James Brown? Would you enjoy seeing them live this weekend? Well, here to tell us more about the Shake, Rattle, and Soul Festival is Dwight Eisenhower. And welcome to the show, Dwight. And I think we can figure out who you are tributing in this costume.
Tom Jones, right?
Yes. Well, Elvis Presley, of course. And so it's tribute artist. A lot of people say impersonator, but you prefer tribute artist. Why is that?
Well, you know, Elvis impersonators have gotten such a bad rap, you know, out in Vegas, you know, on the street corners, and that's not really what we do. You know, this is a I approach it as an actor, playing Elvis Presley on stage.
And playing a very important part. So how did you get started tributing your idol? You
know, my mother, huge Elvis fan, so growing up, naturally I saw his movies, and at Christmas time, the Blue Christmas album would play throughout the house. So from the time I was probably 5 years old, I just remember seeing, you know, hearing his music, and I just fell in love with Elvis, man.
And still, all these years later, still doing it.
Right.
That's tremendous. Now, 4 world titles? I mean, you're pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah, you know, 4 world titles. I won the Heart of the King, which is the big one in Las Vegas.
Okay.
The King of the World in Memphis,
All right.
2 years back to back, and then the Collingwood Grand Champion, early years division in
All right.
Collingwood, Canada.
And then the 4th one?
The 4th one was the Images of the King, the longest running Elvis contest in the world. I won it back in 2013.
Are they all equally prestigious, or do you have a favorite?
You know, the Heart of the King, I actually won that one in the showroom where Elvis played over 900 concerts.
Oh, wow.
So they presented me with an award on the stage where Elvis played. So
now, do you still compete in these, or once you've won it, they kind of tell you?
You know, I've got one more that I want to win. That is kind of the big one, and it's in Memphis coming up this year. So hopefully, you know.
All right. Well, tell me about the big festival coming.
Shake, Rattle, and Soul Fest, February 7th and 8th.
Yes.
It's going to be a great time.
This weekend.
Exactly. Even if you're not a huge Elvis fan, if you're just a music lover in general, there's going to be something for you at this festival. We got Roy Orbison, tribute to Roy Orbison, James Brown, Rod Stewart. So any genre of music.
And a lot of these people, their hits have been decades ago. Do you think that this movie or these musical numbers are going to continue to stick around?
Definitely. I mean, Elvis, Roy Orbison, that music will live on forever. It'll become the classical music, you know.
And the audience reaction the last few years here, I imagine, has been big.
It's been fantastic. Every year it grows, and I know that this year is going to be bigger than last year. You know, it's a growing thing.
All right, well, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you to play some Elvis Presley.
Yeah, let's do one.
He is in the building. So
let's do one. Let's do a little Blue Suede Shoes. You help me out,
Let's
right?
do it, yeah.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, can't go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Take it back.
Well, you can do anything, but they all for my blue suede shoe.
Well, it's blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoe, baby. Blue suede shoe. But you can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe.
Yeah. All right. So one more time, the festival this weekend. People should just come out and have a great time.
They should come out, and I tell you what, we're even going to have one of Elvis's original musicians there, Mr. Duke Bardwell, who played over 200 concerts with Elvis, will be there on Saturday night.
All right, Robart Serena. Also, some other legends, Reba McEntire, Ricky Nelson, and James Brown. You mentioned Rod Stewart, Roy Orbison. They're also going to be.
They're all going to be there, and this is a show that you would easily pay $100, $150 a ticket out in Vegas to see right here in Sarasota for less than half the price.
Absolutely, a night of fun and entertainment. Well, I'm going to ask for an encore. What else do you got in the bag?
Let's do a little Heartbreak Hotel from 1956.
Let's do it. All right.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. Well, it's down at the end of Lonely Street at Heartbreak Hotel. Well, I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die.
So what? Where do you decide on the attire? Because I know that he went through a lot of different changes throughout his career.
Right.
Is this going to be one of the get-ups for
you know,
the
this
festival?
this is a more of like the 1960s movie type Elvis.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're going to save all the jumpsuits and the flash, you know, for the show. But this is what you may have seen Elvis, you know, in Blue Hawaii or one of those movies.
Yeah, and in those movies you can still catch him. But thank you so much, Dwight. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
As well.
Yes,
and
thank you so much.
It's a good time, so everyone should come out to that festival. Well, stay tuned to Suncoast FYI because we will be right back. Well, that's our show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, if you would like to promote your business or event on Suncoast FYI, we'd love to hear from you. Just call our sales department at 941-361-4223. I'm Grant Boxleitner. See you next Friday on Suncoast FYI.